A lot of details came out in court today for the hearing of Quadajah Johnson, including the fact that this was the first time when the shooting unfolded that she allegedly laid eyes on Romecca Blackmon. We know that she and Romecca Blackmon, they both have children by the same man. And for the very first time, we are hearing from Carlos Smith. He was the man on the scene when this tragic shooting unfolded. So a lot of information came out in court today. Witnesses saying what they saw, but you were there. What's your reaction to what you heard came out in court today?
When I heard it, I'm just looking, it was unbelievable, but I was there. And I know for a fact none of that happened, how they just explained it. But my truth will get out here, and I hope everybody understand. That's really it. I can't even say too much right now. Because it's just going to feel like I'm going against them, they going against me, we just going back and forth. But the truth is going to come out.
Through the door again.
Look down at your heart, and your mama will always be right there for you. You want to say something to her, look down at your heart. And whatever you say to her, say it to her right there. The same way I have to do. I have to look right here, and I have to talk to her and ask her, just tell me what happened.
Instead of planning her 6-year-old grandson's birthday, Tina McMiller shared the last note Romecca Blackmon left for her son.
And then she wrote him a note in his lunchbox. And on the back of the note, he responded and said, I love you more, Mom.
The 31-year-old mom was shot and killed just after dropping her son off at school near Romecca State in the South Loop.
Thank you to the state's attorney. To Detective Tiros, you did a great job. I truly appreciate it. To the Attorney General, it's been 3 months of pain and agony. I just want to say thank you, Lord. Thank you. Justice, please. I just want justice. I don't want to fight with nobody. I don't want to argue with nobody. I just want justice for my daughter. And I want peace in my family. This has been such a hard 3 months. It's been painful. It's been we've been torn apart. One of the leaders of our family, she was the baby, but she was the leader. The holidays are not holidays. I'm just grateful to God. And I am happy on today's verdict.
Carlos is doing great. He has always been doing great. He has a strong mother. He has a strong grandmother. He has strong aunties. He has strong uncles. He has a village. Carlos may be hurt for the rest of his life, but we make sure he see rainbows in his clouds, okay? Nothing will ever change about that. There is nothing he needs that we cannot provide. He is perfectly well. He is happy. He is thriving. And even when he feels his lowest, we pull him out of it together like we do with each other.
On the morning of September 8th, 2025, 31-year-old Romecca Meeks-Blackmon kissed her 6-year-old son goodbye and watched him walk into his first-grade classroom in Chicago's South Loop neighborhood. Inside his lunchbox, she had placed a handwritten note that read, "Happy Monday. Son, today is a fresh start and you can start off strong. Always remain yourself. You're the coolest, smartest, and funniest kid I know. I love you so much and you make me so proud. Have a great day. Mommy loves you." It would be the last note she would ever write to him. Minutes later, at approximately 9:06 in the morning, Romecca was shot multiple times in the face during a confrontation near Cermak Road and State Street.
A witness pointed out the shooter to police. One of the witnesses also said the father of Blackmon's child had her in a headlock before the shots were fired.
I'm licensed to carry.
It doesn't matter.
You shot somebody. What the wrong with you?
The man in the shorts is CJ's father. He's covered in blood.
She would be pronounced dead at Quadajah Hospital shortly after. The woman accused of pulling the trigger was Quadajah Johnson, also known as Holly Johnson. The connection between these two women, they both had children with the same man, Carlos Smith Sr. What happened in those final moments? Was this self-defense, as Johnson initially claimed? Or was it something far more sinister? Romecca Meeks-Blackmon was more than just a headline. She was a devoted mother, a nursing student, and according to her family, someone with the purest soul who lit up every room she entered. Her mother, Tina McMillan, remembers her daughter as someone who always showed up for her son, no matter what challenges she faced in her own life. In the weeks leading up to that September morning, Romecca had been documenting her son's journey into first grade on social media. She posted photos of him on his first day of school with a caption that read, "To my son, there is nothing you can't count on me for. Even when my world is falling apart, I'll make sure yours is always perfect." Those words would prove tragically prophetic. According to prosecutors, the events of September 8th unfolded with chilling speed. Romecca had just completed her morning school drop-off and was preparing to head to work when Carlos Smith Sr. arrived nearby. He was not alone. In his vehicle sat Quadajah Johnson and their 6-month-old child. The two women had never met in person before this day, but there was already significant tension between them. Court records would later reveal that just months earlier, in July of 2024, Johnson had filed for and been granted a stalking no-contact order against Romecca. However, that order had never been served. Within moments of the two women coming face-to-face, a verbal argument erupted. Multiple witnesses at the scene would later describe what happened next. According to their accounts, Carlos Smith Sr. became physically involved, allegedly placing Romecca in a chokehold during the altercation. Then, according to prosecutors, Quadajah Johnson walked back to her vehicle. She retrieved a handgun. She returned to where Romecca stood and fired multiple rounds, striking her in the face. Witnesses reported that after the shooting, Johnson fist-bumped Carlos Smith Sr. as Romecca lay dying on the pavement. In the immediate aftermath of the shooting, chaos erupted. Bystanders screamed. Someone could be heard on video yelling, "She shot her? I saw her put the gun in the car."
She shot her!
It doesn't matter.
You shot somebody! What the wrong with you?
When police arrived on the scene, Quadajah Johnson was taken into custody. She told officers she had acted in self-defense. She mentioned the no-contact order she had filed against Romecca. She emphasized that she had a valid FOID card and a concealed carry license. And then, something happened that would spark outrage across the city and beyond. On September 13th, 2025, just 5 days after Romecca's death, the Cook County State's Attorney's Office announced that Johnson was being released without charges. They stated there was insufficient information to make a charging decision at that time. Romecca Meeks-Blackmon's family was devastated. Tina McMillan stood at the corner of Cermak and State, the exact spot where her daughter had been killed. She was surrounded by family members and supporters, all wearing pink shirts in Romecca's memory. "This has been such a hard 3 months," McMillan said, her voice breaking. "It's been painful. It's been terrible. I mean, we've been torn apart." On September 12th, the family held a vigil for Romecca in West Englewood. Thousands of pink, white, and silver balloons were released into the sky, many bearing her nickname, Big Meeks. "The love she showed everybody, y'all showed it all back," McMillan told a crowd gathered to remember her daughter. But beneath the grief was something else. Anger at a system that had released Romecca's alleged killer. Anger at the circumstances that had allowed this confrontation to happen. And anger that her grandson would now grow up without his mother. "I want justice," McMillan said firmly. "She didn't deserve it. It's not right. I don't care what you did." For nearly 3 months, the case sat without charges filed. During this time, investigators were working behind the scenes, gathering evidence, interviewing witnesses, and building their case. What they uncovered painted a very different picture from the self-defense narrative that Johnson had initially presented. Multiple witnesses corroborated the same basic facts. Romecca had been walking away from her vehicle when the confrontation began. Carlos Smith Sr. had physically restrained her, and Quadajah Johnson had retrieved a firearm from her vehicle before firing. Perhaps most damning was what happened immediately after the shooting. According to prosecutors, surveillance footage and witness statements showed Johnson celebrating with Carlos Smith Sr. in the street while Romecca lay dying. Judge James Costello would later state during Johnson's detention hearing, celebrating in the street after shooting someone is not self-defense. On December 3, 2025, nearly 3 months after Romecca's death, Chicago police finally arrested Quadajah Johnson at her home in Des Plaines. She was now 7 weeks pregnant. The following day, Johnson appeared in court for her detention hearing, where she was formally charged with first-degree murder. Prosecutors laid out their case in detail. They described how Johnson had walked back to her car, retrieved her weapon, and then returned to shoot Romecca multiple times. They noted the fist bump with Carla Smith Sr. They emphasized that this was not the behavior of someone acting in legitimate self-defense. Judge Costello ordered Johnson to remain in custody pending trial, denying her request for bond. In the courtroom, Romecca's family wept with relief. After months of waiting, wondering if justice would ever come, they finally had what they'd been fighting for: accountability. But even with charges filed and a trial date set, many questions remain. Why did Carla Smith Sr. and Quadajah Johnson go to that school that morning? Was it coincidence, as they claimed, or was it intentional? Why was the no-contact order never served to Romecca? Could she have protected herself if she had known it existed? And perhaps most troubling, why did Carla Smith Sr. allegedly place Romecca in a chokehold during the confrontation? What role did he play in escalating a verbal argument into a deadly shooting? In the aftermath of Johnson's arrest, Carla Smith Sr. spoke to reporters outside the courthouse. His version of events differed dramatically from what prosecutors described. "It was unbelievable," he said, referring to the charges against Johnson. "But I was there, and I know for a fact none of that happened how they explained it. But my truth will get out here, and I hope everybody understand." To date, Carla Smith Sr. has not been charged with any crime in connection with Romecca's death. Perhaps the greatest tragedy in this case is not what happened to Romecca Meeks-Blackmon on that September morning, but what didn't happen. A little boy didn't get to see his mother again. That 6-year-old boy who walked into his first-grade classroom with a loving note in his lunchbox came home that afternoon to learn that his mother was gone, shot and killed just minutes after she had dropped him off at school. Tina McMillan, Romecca's mother, is now raising her grandson. The burden of explaining to a child why his mother won't be coming home falls on her shoulders. In December, just before Christmas, a local towing company and community activists surprised a boy with bikes, toys, and a $3,500 check to help with his care. It was a beautiful gesture, but it couldn't fill the void left by his mother's absence. The note Romecca wrote that final morning has been shared thousands of times on social media. It's become a symbol of her love, her devotion, and the senseless tragedy of her death. "Always remain yourself," she wrote. "You're the coolest, smartest, and funniest kid I know." Those words, meant to inspire a child through his school day, now serve as a mother's final message to her son. But the tragedy of Romecca Meeks-Blackmon isn't just about a single confrontation. It's about a system that often fails long before a trigger is ever pulled. For 8 to 6 days, the legal system treated this case like a gray area. In that time, the statistics of Chicago's violence continued to climb. In the years surrounding Romecca's death, over 2,000 firearm-related homicides were reported in the city, and the demographics tell a haunting story. Since 2010, Black Chicagoans have made up nearly 80% of the victims of weapon violence, despite representing only 28% of the population. Numbers like these can feel cold until you look at the ghost paperwork in this case. Quadajah Johnson had filed a stalking no-contact order against Romecca months earlier. On paper, it was a warning sign. In reality, it was a failure. The order was never served. It sat in a file while the tension between these two women was allowed to reach a boiling point. Advocates point to this as the ultimate what-if. If that order had been served, would Romecca have known to keep her distance? Or is a piece of paper a useless shield against someone who brings a gun to a school zone? Then there's a self-defense loophole. For 3 months, the Cook County State's Attorney's Office hesitated, citing insufficient information. They allowed the narrative of a FOID card and a concealed carry license to stall justice. But as the evidence finally showed, a license to carry is not a license to escalate. The delay didn't just hurt the case, it haunted a family. Every day that passed without an arrest was a day Romecca's mother had to look her grandson in the eye and explain why the world hadn't yet stood up for his mother. It asked a chilling question of every Chicagoan: how many warning signs had to be documented, and how many fist bumps had to be caught on camera before the system decides that a life is worth an immediate charge. The trial is set to continue in 2026. The family waits for justice, and a little boy waits for answers that may never fully come. What are your thoughts on this case? Do you think the 3-month delay in charging Quadajah Johnson was justified? What role, if any, should Carla Smith Sr. play in the legal proceedings? Please share your thoughts in the comments below.
Please stop sharing them. Poses of my sister, please. Please stop sharing that post of my baby sister on that ground, please. Get y'all, please. For my mama and for me and my siblings' sake. Please, y'all. My sister is gone. Yes, she is. Please. Please. Please, I see y'all calling everything. I can't. I'm doing this to let y'all know I am very broken. Me and my family is broken. Please, y'all, please. Give us some time to respond, to talk to y'all, to anything. Please, y'all. My